So you blew it. And people laughed. Good. Let them. Hairay's the thing they don't get. The trip up is the tail. Every person you idolize, every success that you've admired, every name that changed the world, started with failure. Not despite it. Through it. They were mocked. Abandoned. Told they'd never make it. Until they did. So when they're mocking, let it pump you up. When they're finger-pointing, you're learning lessons they'll never learn. When they're wasting time judging, you're already 3 steps ahead of them, smarter, stronger, wiser. What do you have in common with them? You're in the arena. They're in the cheap seats, judging moves they've never had the courage to make. Mistakes don't make you weaker, they make you stronger. They wear away the kind of strength that can only be developed by stumbling and choosing to rise again. They teach you humility when pride would kill you. They build in patience when shortcuts would have lost you. They provide you with grit when talent has nothing left to offer. This is where real power starts. Not in the highlight reel. In the blooper reel nobody posts. So don't hide from your weakness. Face them. Because every time you're owning a mistake, you're rewriting the story. You're demonstrating, to the world and to yourself, that failure isn't the enemy of progress. It's the drive. Progress isn't starting when you finally get it right. It's starting the moment that you stop being embarrassed to be human. Being human means you're learning, trying, growing, living. And that right there is the entire point. So keep your head up. Not because you're perfect. Because you're courageous enough to be imperfect and persist anyway. That's the true triumph. That's the distinction between those who succeed and those who merely complain. You're moving. They're not. And in the end, that matters. You know that feeling, don't you? The mistake that sits on your chest like a rock. The one that teases at night. You repeat it again and again and again. What you did, what you said, how you could have done it differently. The truth is, the weight isn't the mistake. The weight is your expectation that you should have been perfect. At some point, you were taught that failure is shame. That messing up is equal to something being broken within you. What if that was the greatest lie you've ever heard? What if failure is merely the method that life teaches the lessons comfort never did? You weren't supposed to be perfect. You were supposed to be forged. Steel isn't strong because it's flawless. It's strong because it's been fire-tested. That's you. Every mistake. Every bad choice. Every time you fell short, that's your flame. That's where the old you gets burned off, and what's left is someone more refined. More clever. More honest. People who run from mistakes stay soft. They never become more than they've ever been. But you? You've already been humiliated. Scorned. Disappointed. And you're still standing. Still breathing. Still reaching. That means something more than you realize. So don't hide your scars like they're secrets. They're proof you arrived at life, that you risked something true and survived the destruction. Maybe that's what it truly means to live. Not to never fall. But to keep walking, bagging the ashes of who you once were and the courage to become who you could be. No one talks about what comes after. After the noise settles. After the laughter stops. After all the others move on to the next show. There is a quiet that falls, thicker than failure itself. This is the rebuilding phase. It is not sexy. Nobody cheers it. Nobody even notices it. But it is sacred. This is where you start anew. You collect your tools, ambition, introspection, self-discipline, and set about the difficult, unglomerized work of rebuilding. You choose effort, not ego. Growth, not image. Substance, not speed. And somewhere in between that silent hustle, something shifts. The ones who mocked? They've forgotten already. But you recall every phrase, every glance, every cutting remark. And you take that hurt and fuel it. That's when validation becomes irrelevant. You've discovered what it costs to live on approval. You've realized the weakness of living for applause. So you start moving quieter, but with more purpose. You smile to yourself more, not because everything's perfect, but because you finally know what real power feels like. Power isn't loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't make a show. It's the quiet confidence that no matter what happens, no matter how far you fall, you can pick yourself up. Again. And again. And again. That knowledge? That unbreakable foundation? That's yours now. And nobody can take it from you. You used to be scared of the fire. Now you walk right through it. Because eventually you learn you were never meant to avoid pain. You were meant to outgrow it. Every burn was a lesson learned. Every wrong move refined your instincts. Every loss gave you knowledge you could not have otherwise had. People who never fall remaining weak. They're untested. One strong wind and they break. But those who've fallen and risen? They become unstoppable. Because they've learned the secret. Failure is not deadly. It's fuel. So when life tests you again, and it will, don't flinch. Don't ask, why me? Ask, what's this making me into? Because you've been through enough tempests to know this by now. You don't break anymore. You change. You evolve. That's what mastery really is. Not perfection. Not flawlessness. Transmutation. You've turned pain into power. Failure into focus. Doubt into drive. Now when they laugh, you don't hear it the same way. You've outgrown their size. They're still where you started, hanging on the edge, too afraid to jump in. But you? You're somewhere they can't follow. On the other side of fear. You don't just survive the fire now. You don't just walk through it. You are the fire. And nothing can extinguish what you've become.